Oh,吓死我了. That was scary, guys. I'm scared. Alright guys, welcome to a video today. So, just before I made this video, I wrote my notes in script and things I usually do before I make one. And then my computer full shut down and I lost the entire script, or my entire set of notes that I wrote for this mousepad, so I'm gonna wing it again. Right? At least roughly I have an idea of what I say in my mind, but it's really pissed me off and I cannot be bothered making another set. I'm so mad. But anyway, today we're talking about the Hystar Mirai. Hystar's a USA company. They mainly specialize in doing desk mats and other cool things like keyboard USB cables, wall arts, and just well-designed things. Their desk pads look really nice. I would love to have one, by the way. Make sure you check it out. So the Mirai here is their first entry into a more performance-based mousepad. This is their Elite series, and this is limited to 300 units globally. Each one is individually numbered on the bottom here as well. And also, big thanks to Hystar for giving me this review unit. I did email them about it. I know quite a few of the other bros who did also ask for review units and were turned down, so I'm pretty fortunate to have been selected, and I appreciate that recognition coming out of Hystar. So jumping straight into the details and unboxing and features. So the Mirai comes flat shipped in a box that looks like this. Now obviously peel open the back and you would get the mousepad to greet you. Once again, I want to say, every single company out there making mousepads needs to take note of how this is packaged. Right? I do not care that the packaging is useless later on. I just want you to know that the amount of effort they would have had to put in to make this kind of design and this unboxing experience is second to none from a mousepad so far. And this really is the standard that every mousepad producer needs to meet. So the pad would come in a plastic bag like this, and you also get a lot of extra stuff here. A Mirai sticker, some Hystar things. They also teach you the method to clean your mousepad, and also this, if you guys want to take a second to pause the screen and read it, this is definitely how you should be cleaning all of your cloth mousepads, so I like this. Then again, and also a tab here. So every company, make sure you take note of this packaging and these cool accessories that come with it. And on that front alone, Hystar has already won my favor because, as you can see, this mousepad has a very cool design and print on it as well. So the pad costs $50 US, which is roughly 75 Australian dollars, although if you were to order one from Hystar, it'll probably end up being 80 Australian dollars, and then you add shipping on. Also, mentioning shipping, this thing did ship over to me from New Jersey in USA all the way here to Australia, so once again, also big thanks to Hystar for paying the shipping cost, because I imagine that wouldn't have been cheap. The pad is 490 by 420 by 4mm thick, so that is a standard artisan, or most mouse pads these days, standard sizing. It is made of Poron, and also, like I mentioned before, you get a very cool printed design on it. I believe this is one of the first Poron-based mousepads that actually has a design on it. I'm pretty sure there are other companies also trying to do this. Whether or not I can leak more information is not up to me, and also hopefully those come out good as well. Mirai, standing for future in Nihongo and Japanese, and well, here we are. As for it being individually serialized, I really like what Hystar is doing with their marketing as well. They're selling you this mousepad beyond just the mousepad. It's also kind of got like a story, a community, and it really does make the purchaser, the end user, feel like they're part of something rather than just, here, you buy a mousepad and you use it. You know, you join their Discord, you talk to the owners. The owner literally has a little story to tell for every single number on the mousepad as well. So whatever serial you get, you know, you can say, hey, what does this number mean? And he'll tell you something about what's behind your mousepad. Now, it is very unfortunate that I didn't get number 69, because I really do need some lessons on what that number means. It's not something I am very familiar with, but unfortunately number 272 will have to do. So as for what 272 is, I forgot to actually ask that when I got this mousepad. I only asked it just before I made this video, so I will update you guys in the description if you're curious. So as per usual, we always have a quick summary for those who just want to watch the 30-second video and get out of here. So this is a textured speed pad. Not the fastest, but definitely towards the speed side of things. The texturing itself, however, is probably the biggest letdown of the mousepad, and it performs fine. From a performance point of view, this gets an above average grade, but it is definitely nothing quite special like the Energon or the Hayate Otsu and things like that. There are better performance offerings. However, if you're a person who doesn't care about min-maxing every piece of your gear and just wants something that looks nice and plays good, then this could be for you. I'm sure there's people out there who want a more aesthetic, cool looking setup, and this definitely fits right in. I'm sure we've all had enough of colored squares these days, but unfortunately colored squares seem to be the best performing mousepads, so it really comes down to, are you trying to min-max performance, or do you also want some aesthetic into it? So going into the base. The base of this mousepad is definitely a Poron look. However, when I touch it, I swear this is not the same as the artisan Porons that I have been touching in the past. This feels a lot more rubbery and sticky to the hand. I hate how this feels on my actual skin. However, thankfully it's not like I'm touching the base all the time with my hands, so that doesn't really bother me, and this base really does stick on the table and the pad does not move. Right, the base is very high quality here in that sense. And also, this is definitely an X-Soft base. I wish, and I really do wish, that the Ambition or the Energon had the same kind of base as this, because this base is perfection. This is the right kind of softness and textured feel you would want in terms of how squishy and how responsive it actually feels. The thickness is just right, and from a base point of view, this is excellent. Moving on to stitching, there's very thin stitched edges. There is literally nothing to complain about. It is immaculate. Build quality is excellent, and this is just the normal standard these days. Everyone should be doing it like this. Jumping straight to texture. This is the part where we got to talk about it a little. So this is definitely a textured pad, and you can feel that texture when you glide your mouse on it. However, the texturing itself feels pretty poor, in the sense that your mouse doesn't really get as much feedback underneath it as you will, and even that feedback in itself isn't a nice feeling feedback. Now, given just a short while ago I reviewed the Focus Ambition, which kind of has one of the best textured feels and responses I've ever felt on a textured mousepad, this is quite a contrast to come from. When I first opened this mousepad and started using it, there was a time when it even felt kind of grainy, in the sense that as if I had sand stuck on my skates as I tried to move it around on the mousepad, and it really just didn't feel as good. Now, in actual gameplay, that's not as noticeable. I would say this is perfectly fine if you played Apex or Overwatch. It makes no difference. However, that is just something to be aware that the texturing itself doesn't really feel particularly good and is probably the biggest letdown of the mousepad. I wonder if that has anything to do with how the surface had to be treated in order to print the design, and if that kind of influenced how this end result came out. Also, do keep in mind that the skates you use change how the mousepad feels. So for most of my testing, I was using a mouse that had core pads on it as well, and that felt worse than using some mid-quality stock skates that comes with this M3. So turns out that the more rounded core pads don't feel as nice as this does, because on these stock skates, I'm getting a lot more feedback and response compared to the core pads. While neither of them feel particularly good, I would say it's better coming onto these stock skates. So if you plan on using this, I actually don't recommend you change the core pads for once. In terms of arm sleeve, this mousepad works perfectly fine with an arm sleeve. As a textured pad, this is probably one of the best mousepads in terms of not having friction on your arm sleeve, so that's a good thing. Even though the texturing and the feeling under your mouse skates itself is pretty average, at least the surface glides with your arm sleeve. Moving to speed and control. This is definitely a speed pad. Right, this thing is faster than both my Ambition and the Energon. However, it would be slower than the low-key. It might actually feel a little faster than, say, a Venus. I think when you use this mousepad, there's a chance you may feel that it's faster than a Venus, depending on how your skin does with the Venus's mousepad surface friction. In the sense that if your arm is getting caught and you can't move your arm on the Venus, then the Venus might feel slower. However, if you just compared the glide itself on the bottom of skates, I think the Venus might be slightly faster. But nonetheless, I think this is roughly a similar kind of speed mousepad, and it is considered on the slightly faster end of things. However, speed and control are surprisingly good. When I was playing Valorant with it at least though, that texturing issue really does make me feel low confidence when I use it. So as a player, in Valorant especially, or CS or tac shooters where you have to make sure you hit that one shot, confidence is super important. And the fact that this mousepad doesn't give me that confidence is something that really is detrimental. However, when I did load into Overwatch and Apex Legends, this felt great. So there was nothing to complain about there. It glides, it's fine, and I don't feel that texturing issue anymore. On the other tac shooters though, it does make me feel a little bit unconfident in my flicks. So as I mentioned previously, I'm not really going to be bothered getting the other mousepads out to compare because I've already said something. By now, I feel like everyone understands the mousepad without me needing to bring it here onto the table and physically show you guys. This base is excellent. I wish things like Energon, Ambition had this kind of base. Surface-wise, the other pads are definitely better performing. This is mainly let down due to the texturing. However, this has a very well-made design on it, rather than the other surfaces who are just plain squares. Honestly, there's not much more to really compare here. So who should buy this, right? That's the key question we all need to ask. Who should buy this? Well, if you can access the mousepad without overpaying a heavy price, you want something that has a design on it rather than just black square, and you want to be part of that community and get involved in what Hystar is going to bring coming forward. You're not about min-maxing every little bit of performance, because this is perfectly fine in regards to performance. It's not the best, but it's definitely an above average grade. And you mostly play Apex or Fortnite or Overwatch, any of these fast-paced games where you don't need as much of that confidence induction from the min-maxing of performance, then this is for you. I love pads with designs. I think I've made that clear in all my past videos that we've had pads with designs, that I want something that has a design, and this does that. Keep your eyes out for what Hystar is going to bring out more coming forward. Join their Discord. Hopefully they'll release more of these or something similar coming forward, and you guys can all get one and try it. Now, unfortunately, we don't really have many local retailers for this, so I think this will be primarily for those of you guys who are based in the USA. Otherwise, we'll be significantly paying for shipping. At that point, you might as well just buy a mousepad that's available locally, for example, the Ambition or the Anagon or X-Ray pads, Artisan, and all of that. Anyway, catch you guys in the next one, because we have many more reviews to film today.